Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights, here with Herman Bryant, 3B Collectibles. We run Hobby Hotline together, and I'm trying to make a habit of interviewing and getting to know a little bit better these hobbyists, content creators who are on Hobby Hotline. I'm sharing the microphone with. So Herman, not as outspoken as some of the others on Hobby Hotline, but we had a good time getting acquainted, and this is kind of his origin story. Everybody's unique, but he's had his own run. I think he understands his lane, which was a good thing. I used to be a Pirate fan, and he's a Braves fan. I'm maybe no longer a Pirate fan to the same sense, but I love the Mavs and the Cowboys. Thanks, Herman, for sharing your story. And thank you, sponsors, Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins & Scott Auctions, Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication. So Herman Bryant, 3B Collectibles. Here's his story and his involvement in the hobby over several decades. So thanks, Herman, and best to you and Ken with your personal rips and hobby chat, your own content creating, and I'll see you on Hobby Hotline one of these Saturdays. So you had an eBay store 20 years ago. Were you a collector before then? Were you selling cards other places?
I started collecting back in, which I was a late bloomer. I was about 12 when I started. It was back in 84. My first card was a Dale Murphy. There was 84 Topps that my mom picked up for me. She picked it up for me at a flea market. Awesome. And I spotted it, and I knew Dale Murphy because watching baseball with my father, knowing who Dale Murphy was and Bob Horner, back being my two favorite players. I picked it up, and I held that card forever and still have it to today. I actually got started collecting a couple of years later when some friends at school had some cards, and I was like, hey, I've got this Dale Murphy 84, but they have like boxes of cards, and then it just piqued my interest, and I picked up a few here and there from them and started trading. And of course, like a bunch of other people, 87 was my first pack that I actually opened.
Okay.
And it took off from there. We collected from then up until about 96. All through high school. I didn't really take a break for anything through high school. I was actually already married before I started slowing down. I went to work at a local card shop. It was actually inside of a pawn shop in my hometown, helping the guy sort cards and binder up cards and whatnot. And he wanted to get out of it. I asked him what would it take to just take it over. He gave me a price, and I went home. And of course, I was still in high school at the time, but talked to my parents, and of course, they're like, "You're crazy. You're not spending this kind of money on this." And kept talking to them. That was actually my first bank loan. Was to my dad signed the note with me to purchase this shop from this guy, and he allowed me to stay inside the pawn shop and sublease a corner. I just subleased the area and took it over.
Yeah,
and did that for about 2 years.
Do you listen to Mike Summer, the Wax Pack Hero guy, has a podcast?
I do.
He bought out the store within a store, similar kind of deal up in Illinois. But I suppose being in a pawn shop is good. If you got traffic, people coming in there. So was your store pretty successful, or was it in the time when the hobby started slowing down?
No, it was late 89, right after Upper Deck had hit.
It was still good then.
Yeah, it was real good. The only reason I got out of it was because he got to the point where he needed a space and just kind of quit leasing it to me. So I had to move out. And then, of course, I get stuck with all this inventory that I can't sell out of my home. eBay was a thing then, I think, and it just really hadn't taken off. I spent a lot of time working flea markets and festivals and stuff like that, just trying to sell down what I had.
What did your wife think? Because you were already married, you're saying.
Yeah, I got married in 92. And like I said, I was still selling through the overstock that I had from the store. She was fine with it. I guess she went into it knowing it's something I did.
But it's a weekend activity if you're doing the flea markets and things like that.
But she'd always would come with me. There's even been times to where if I had to work on the weekends, she'd load the car up and take it for me.
Goes into the wife's Hall of Fame, collectors' wives, dealers' wives.
Yeah. I just had to make sure that, and it goes back to having stuff priced. I had made a list of everything and what I wanted or the price on it and the least I would take. And she'd done pretty good with it.
So then did you take another break after that? Or were you pretty much
I faded out around 96 with the lockout, the strike or whatever.
Yeah.
I faded out then. I never really got out of it as to where I got rid of all my stuff. It always stayed with me, and I'd buy a pack here and there. I'd pull a box out every once in a while and look through it. just raising 3 kids. Priorities come first.
Absolutely. But okay, so are you collecting sets? Are you player collector? What are you focusing on throughout? Have you had a theme?
Did some sets. Back then, I did a lot of player collecting, like everybody else. The Frank Thomases, the Ken Griffey Juniors, and whatnot. Right before the strike happened, I leaned more toward going back and picking up some of the older rookie cards, like the Tony Gwynns, the Wade Boggs, Cal Ripken, such as that. And basically just wanted the rookie card and a second-year card.
Smart. Smart.
Yeah. And I don't think I really got big into sets until after my kids were born. Then I always wanted the 72 set, which was my birth year set. You hear stories of people saying, my parents bought this for me when I was born and they put it up and then gave it to me later on. And I just wanted to do that for my kids. So that's how it started. Later on, about 2009, I actually started the 72 set and just finished it about a month ago.
Rich was telling me about that. That's cool. That's a tough set to piece together a card at a time.
It started with a lot and then add a few here, add a few there, 1 or 2 here. And I picked them up everywhere from eBay to sport lots to shows, to in-person trades, anything such as that. But
are you particular about condition? Do the cards need to be near mint, or what is your stance on that when you're putting this set together for yourself?
With the 72 set, I started out that way. But once I got into more toward the semi-highs and the scarcity and just trying to find them, I leaned more toward just get it and fill the set. And if I'm not happy with it later on, I can look for a better copy.
But you're not stockpiling cards that much, are you? You're collecting and selling off what you don't want, stuff like that? Back when I was young like that, I'd buy an extra Clemente because I liked him so much. If I had one, I'd think, well, 2's better than 1. And I'd use it for trade sometimes if something really good came up. But so I guess I always had a little bit of a dealer mentality along with my collector mentality back when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. The only thing that I really, is, as you say, stockpile is I'll pick up any Freemans and any Dale Murphys that I see.
Okay.
Regardless of whether I already have it. I have, I think, 35 of his rookie card. It's not like I'm.
Now you're talking. Okay. You talking about Murphy? Dale Murphy? Because
no, the
Freddie
Freeman rookie cards, yeah.
So many rookie cards.
Yeah, I wish I had 35 of the Dale Murphy rookie cards.
That's a good card. So how do you get to be friends with Ken?
Through Twitter.
So what kind of stuff do y'all do together? The podcast or the YouTube channel?
Yeah, the YouTube channel, Rips and Hobby Chat. That actually started out with Brad Bethune.
That's right, yeah.
Me and Brad had a weekly appointment of Monday nights. We would jump on StreamYard. We could use it like a Zoom call. We didn't record. We didn't go on YouTube. We just talked back and forth. And then he got to push me to, you ought to go live. We ought to go live. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. We're just talking. It's just me and you. He said, that's fine. We can do it that way. And one day I hit live, and then here we are almost 2 years later.
Yeah. And so then Brad stepped out and Ken stepped in?
Yeah. Brad had another opportunity to come up, and he took it, which you can't blame somebody for trying to step up and do something bigger and better. It was just a weekly conversation between 2 people, not trying to promote nothing or sell anything, just talking about our hobby and what we collected and what we picked up at. But yeah, he found another opportunity and he took it. And Ken sent me a message on Twitter. Hey, man, if you ever need anybody, I'd be willing to jump in when I can. And that ended up being a weekly thing.
Brad has his personality and Ken has his personality. They're pretty different. But,
oh, yeah, they're completely different.
But Ken is very opinionated. Are you his straight man, or same thing with Brad? Because anytime there's 2 guys and 1 microphone, you got to figure out, what one guy's the play-by-play and the other's the color commentator, something. So how have you enjoyed, because I'm doing an interview now with you, but a lot of my podcasts are just me talking. It's simpler, but it's not as good if you're just talking to yourself. What do you enjoy about working with those?
Brad, he's a comedian.
Yes.
Comic. He's got to cut up and be the class clown.
Agitate. Yep.
Agitate. There you go. Yeah. That was fun in its own way. And we just played off each other because I can be the same way at times once I open up with somebody. And like you said, Ken's more serious and he can be opinionated, which is fine. That's everybody's opinion.
What do you mean he can be opinionated? Well, I don't think he cannot be opinionated. I've never seen him not be opinionated.
Well, I can dial it back at times.
Okay. I've seen him dial it back too.
But yeah, and I'm the type of person that I can kind of just roll with the punches, as it were. And if I feel he's getting a little too opinionated, as you say, you can play off that and just kind of make light of the situation and try to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
And I'm not really the type to try to just antagonize and try to keep something going.
Sounds like you're a great partner for both those guys. That would be fun. So when you go to shows, what do you do or you look for?
Now that I finished the 72 set, I've also got a few binders I'm working on with the Braves team sets. And I'm usually digging through commons, looking for those and some of the older ones because I went back as far as 66 is where I started. Up until recently, anytime I went, I was looking for supplies, pages or something like that. But yeah, that and just looking for any Freemans that I hadn't seen or Murphys.
Do it by memory or do you have a list?
No, I use trading card database checklist and just go off that. And I try to get back as low a number as I can. The majority of them usually stop at about 20 before it really gets out of my range.
Yeah. You didn't go to the National, did you? There was a big booth there that was by team, just huge, big stacks of just monster boxes by team. I was looking at a dollar box on it, the table, and a guy said, I'm looking for some, and they weren't all Braves, but let's just say, for example, they're all Braves. I said, hey, you go over that way about 50 yards. There's a guy that's got all of this, dollar box stuff, good cards, and all the Braves are together. And so there was a level of organization that was really appreciated by that guy. Me, I don't care if it's not organized because I just like looking at lots of different cards.
Yeah.
But for you,
it would be sweet for
that would have been an ideal thing for you. There was some good stuff in there. I mean, I looked at it a little bit, but
yeah. But that's pretty much the only thing that I really look for when is all Braves cards. I don't really do much of anything outside of Braves. Usually if I open a box or a pack or something and I get another team's big rookie, I'll throw it on eBay and just try to sell it and pick up another Freeman or.
So you don't sell it to those?
Not anymore. No.
Yeah.
I did when I first got out of the store.
Yeah.
And had the stock. Actually, I just live a mile from Royston in the home of Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
They were in the process of trying to build the museum that's here now. One of the things they did was a card show, and they called it the Ty Cobb Memorial Show. And they would actually print cards. They printed 100 cards. As well as I can remember, that was the first numbered card I'd ever remember seeing. But like I said, this was in like 93, 94. Yeah. And they would give them out to every dealer that had a table. They sold any of the others they had, and they kept the number one and would auction it off.
Cool.
But yeah, that was about my stint with shows. I did that for about 3 years.
The man in the house of cards. The man in the house of cards. The man in the house of cards is